Welcome, everyone. My name is Sandra Barb, and I'm the Marketing Event Specialist here at Certent, and I just want to thank you for joining us for today's webinar presenting Certant's Equity Compensation Management for Public Companies. We will get started in just a few moments, but I'd like to just go over a few housekeeping details. We'd like to keep today's presentation interactive, so if you do have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to submit those in the chat box. We'll address those at the end of the presentation or within 24 hours of the event. Following today's event, we will be sending you a follow-up message containing the recording of today's session. So now I'd like to introduce our presenter for today. Joining us is Jennifer Baehr. Jennifer is the Director of Sales Engineering at Certent. She works with the sales teams to support prospective clients' requests. Jen started in the industry in 2000, and prior to joining Certent, she was the Programs Director at NASPP. She also worked at other SaaS companies in several areas including consulting, training, product strategy, and product management. Jen, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. And welcome everyone to today's session on equity compensation management for public companies. Before we jump in and show you what the system looks like and its capabilities, I do want to talk a little bit of who Certent is and where we've come from and our background. So just really briefly, Certent is the leading provider of financial compliance solutions. We do have two primary offerings. We have disclosure management and equity compensation management, which we will discuss today. We're supported by comprehensive services, including our full admin service group, and we do have more than 2,400 customers with nearly 1,000 public companies using our solution. We are headquartered in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we do have operation centers in both Sacramento and Toronto. So in one platform, we will help you comply with ASC 718 in the areas of managerial, financial, and tax accounting. Together, we'll step through a logical process of accountancy that includes valuation, expensing, corporate tax, EPS dilution, and disclosures, along with SEC-required proxy tables. The Certent application also handles complex compensation accounting issues around performance awards and the fair value updates that are needed each period in mark-to-market accounting that are needed for liability and non-employee awards. Certent is the only company with scale that offers true broker choice and automation with several different brokerage firms. Highly automated SaaS platform with connections to other enterprise systems means that you have better controls, better workflows, and operational efficiencies for you and your team. And it gives you a choice of which broker you want to partner with. You are able to use the one that fits your company and culture and that meets the needs of your participants. So at this point, I'd like to jump into the product and give you a quick high-level look at our product and the functionality, along with a few reports that I did pre-run so you can have a taste of what the reporting looks like. Okay. So I've logged into the system. This is the home page or our dashboard. And you'll see going across the top we have three drop-down menus. We first have administration. This is where your day-to-day activity is going to happen, where you would enter in participants, where you can set up new awards, enter in new options or restricted awards. You can also enter in exercises or do a restricted release, all under the administration drop-down menu. The next one is the reports. So reports is where you would go and run reports, but you can also schedule reports to run ahead of time. There are two report outputs, either HTML, which I'll show you in a moment, or there's an Excel version. The Excel version of the reports are always going to give you additional level of detail to help you tie out the values that you're seeing on the reports and also give you a comfort level of the calculations that are going into what you're actually going to be booking. And then the last drop-down menu is settings. So settings is where everything will go to set up the system. It's more of the set it and forget it. This is where new plans would be set up, new vesting schedules, Maybe there's some accounting policy changes that need to happen. That would all be under the settings menu. So let's just go into administration for a moment here. A few things I'd like to point out on the participant side include the ability to track information. And what I mean by that is we can track the movement of, I'll pick on Bill Block here as our participant. We can track his historic addresses. So as he moves around, maybe across the country or across the globe, we're keeping track of that. Or if he's just moving within departments within the company. So I'll scroll down a little bit here. You'll see we have a department field. This tracking is going to be available for all the codes in our system. But if I click on here, you'll see that Bill Block has moved around several times within the last few years in our AAA demo company here. But this is important to keep track of the departments because this can then flow over to the financial reports. If your company is doing cost center accounting and drilling expenses back down to a specific cost center, this department movement will flow over to the financial report so the allocation is appropriate. Okay. So moving into reports. Now I'm going to come into the report menu. We do have over 300 reports available in the system. I've already filtered this screen to show just my favorites. So you'll see that with the orange star off to the right-hand side. Very easy to find the reports you're looking for. This menu above allows you to filter for specific reports. You can also designate a frequency or an audience. So if you have different departments running different reports, you can set that all up within the system so that each department can grab their reports very easily. This last column I always like to point out is our Quick Look column. This is the column that will bring you directly into the Help menu for the report you selected. Now I've selected the Common Equivalence Detail Report. From here, I can see what the report looks like without actually having to run the report with my data. So this is, a sample of what that report is going to show, what the outputs are, and what each column is. In addition, we give you all the formulas that are used in every column of data. So this grid here is going to show you all the formulas that we use on this specific report. Now this is going to be available for every report in the system. Okay. Let me show you a few of the sample reports that I ran. The first one being the expense accrual report. This is the report that is going to get you to your current period expense. So you'll see that under the current expense column. Now I ran this only for a quarter, but you can run it for a month, a quarter, a year, or a specific time frame. We do account for actual forfeitures as they occur. You'll see that reversal of forfeiture credit in the forfeiture credit column, and then we will also reverse out any future expense in the canceled unamortized column. We do account for estimated forfeiture rates if that is something your company is continuing to do, is to use that estimated forfeiture rate going forward on expensing. The system can absolutely do that calculation for you, and you see that on this report here with that 3% estimated forfeiture rate. The next report is the disclosure report. So these are all your required disclosures under ASC 718. Okay. This report is in summary format. So you have a quick summary of the values and the specific disclosures that you need to make. There is a detailed version of this report that you can run to help you tie out the values and get comfortable with the values that you're going to be booking. On that detailed version, it will list out all the grants that went into the calculations of these values. It will also give you the appropriate amount of data that you need to be able to tie back and calculate out the values that you see on the summary report. Common Equivalence is next. Common Equivalence is the report that gets you ultimately to your EPS diluted value. We have updated our system to account for the new ASU 2016-09. If I had run this report for a period of time after 2017, you would see the tax benefit deficiency area would be zeros. Okay? But on this report, what you're ultimately be looking for is line 14 is the incremental shares for dilution to go into the calculation for your EPS diluted value. Similar to the disclosure report, this is the summary version. And then, of course, there is the detailed version that you can run to list out all the grants that went into these calculations with all that level of detail that you need to be able to tie back out to these values that you see on the summary version. And one additional report I like to show is the accounting entries report. This is a nice report. It gives you your debits and your credits. Now I did run this by department, so it is breaking it out by department for me. So you'll see first we have the accounting department, and then if I scroll down, you'll see administration and so on. Again, all these reports are exportable to Excel, so that if you needed to reformat it and upload it into your general ledger, you can do so very easily. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to note on the administrative application is you can enter in data, participants, grants, exercises through the front end, of course, but you also do have the capability of importing that data. You can import that data using standard Excel templates. The templates actually can be found under the Settings drop-down menu. You can download that template, populate the Excel spreadsheet, and then upload it to a secure FTP site. The system will automatically sweep that information in and upload the appropriate data. So at this point, I just want to talk about our support services and implementation and admin services very quickly for you. So as you can see here, this is our customer success momentum. We do have 4 times the revenue, 3 times the number of employees. We are at a 96% customer satisfaction rate. So that comes from our support team. Our support team sends out a survey after each case is closed, asking the client to rate their level of satisfaction. Okay. So the onboarding advantage with us. So we have a very tenured staff. We do have 10 years or more with our staff in the equity compensation. Every team member is a CEP or pursuing to get that certification, and we are doing the implementation for you. Okay, and what I mean by that, I'll go into in a few slides here. But first, let me talk about the project management. Every customer is going to get a project manager during the implementation process. That project manager is going to get that data from you. They will work with the internal departments to get that data converted. They will discuss any discrepancies that have come up. They do conduct a weekly meeting to let you know what the status is. And you always have a full view into where your project is at any point in time. The data conversion. So this is where we differ from some of our competitors. We will convert the data for you. So we take your data from either your legacy system or your Excel spreadsheets in the format that you currently have. We will get your data into the import templates that our system requires, and we will upload them into the application. Okay. If there are any issues with the data, we will contact you, but we will fix that data on your behalf to make sure that the data that's going into the system is accurate. At the end of the implementation process, we will do an expense reconciliation. We do identify any key differences. If you'd like us to make adjustments to those expenses within the system, we can do that for you. And excuse me, and we will review any of the accounting policies, changes or updates or settings that need to be made within the application. Included in all implementations is our Equity Management Bootcamp. Our Equity Management Bootcamp is a 2-day in-classroom type setting to learn the system. The first day is going to be the administrative piece of the system. The second day is focused on financial reporting, so that you have a clear picture of the system that you're going to be using, and you'll know how to use the system on a day-to-day or a month-to-month basis. So our support team, and I did speak of this a little bit in the beginning, so our support team, they do have that 96% client satisfaction. Again, this team is also have either 10 or more years within the industry, and this team also does have all CEPs, or they are working towards completing the CEP program. Okay. And one last piece is our administration services that are available within Certent. So our administration services can help you either do a full, partial, or a one-time service for you. Now, full service meaning that we will administer your plan for you on your behalf. We will process awards, we'll communicate with your participants. If there's any administration reporting, we will communicate with the transfer agent and or that broker process that you may have in place. We would do that all for you in-house. Partial administration is where you may only want us to do pieces for you, such as a restricted release. Maybe there's a large restricted release and your staff is out on sick leave. We can do that processing for you. Or maybe 6039 services, because that only comes up once a year. We can run the reports, we can get them to your participants, we can submit it on your behalf to the IRS. That's all services that we can accomplish for you. Okay, and then the one-time services, maybe you're acquiring another company, or maybe there's a stock split that needs to happen. We can do those one-off activities as well. If you do have any questions or would like a more in-depth demo, please feel free to contact me. My contact information is on the screen, or you can reach out to our email address, hello@certent.com.
Thanks so much, Jen. So we're just going to take a moment and take a few questions. We did have a couple of those come in. So the first question, Jen, you were talking about added services. Somebody submitted a question on their company has never issued awards before and they're still in the design phase. Is there something that our team can help them with?
Absolutely. So if your company is thinking about issuing awards or options in the future and you don't have a plan yet in place and you're kind of trying to figure out where to start, we actually will offer, and we do offer, plan design services. So as part of those one-time services that are available, you can contact us. We can help you design a plan, whether it's an equity with options and restricted plan, or maybe you're thinking of building out an ESPP plan. We can do either or both for you, come up with some plan designs, talk with your board, talk with the people internally to help you come up with the right design for your company and your employees.
Great. And then we have an additional question. Is there a way to bring over data from a prospective client's payroll system to update tax information and demographics?
Yes, that's a great question. So we do have what we call HRPC. So it is a connector that has been built that works with any payroll or HRIS system. What it does is it takes an export of the data from either your payroll and or your HRIS system. It reformats it into the templates that are required to import data into Certent, and it will import that data, so it'll update it. Now it would be on a scheduler, so you don't even have to think about doing this process on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. Most of our clients actually have it scheduled to work alongside of their payroll cycle. So maybe if the payroll cycle is every 2 weeks, that's how often they have this payroll connector running. And like I said, it's all automated, so the file gets dropped off from the payroll system or HRIS system. We do the conversion, and then it's imported directly into the Certent application. So that way your taxes are always up to date. So those year-to-date taxes, which are important if you're doing a restricted release or there's option exercises, especially if you have anybody close to that FICA limit or even the supplemental limit.
Great. And it looks like that's all the questions we have for today. So Jen, I just want to thank you for your time today and the demo. And I just want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.